the mobile digital phone number. That is the phone number of the handheld device or the cell phone on this specific account.
And what is that, I'm sorry, sir, what is the specific cell phone number assigned to the top account?
That number is the search number. It is 831-531-3906.
831?
I'm sorry, 813-531-3906.
Okay, and does that document indicate when this account was opened?
The actual account activation date is right here. It is 6/26 of 2010.
Okay. And please continue with your explanation of what information is provided pertaining to that 813 number on the top of that document.
What happens is when someone, law enforcement, an attorney's office, a district attorney's office actually requests this information, they have to request this with a, now it takes a search warrant or a court order. You have to request the number, and you also will request search date, a start date when you want to search for that particular number to start, and an end date. In this instance, the search date was 6/28 of 2010. That's where they wanted the search to be started, and they wanted it to end at 7/3 of 2010.
Okay.
The next line under the MDN number is the subscriber name. In this instance, the name that was given by the customer was Billy Ray. There's also a subscriber address. In this instance, it was 6549 Tall, T-A-L-L Avenue, Tampa, Florida, and a zip code of 33610.
Now, sir, when a customer opens such an account, is there any attempt made at that retail outlet to verify that such an address actually exists?
No, sir.
Okay, please continue. I'm sorry, sir.
The next column, horizontally, is the subscriber status. In this instance, it is active. The account is active at that particular time when the search was made.
Not active as of today's date.
No, sir. Well, if we're looking at the records, I don't know whether if there's a termination date will be on these records. But when these records were searched, this particular phone number was active at that time.
Okay, thank you. Then continue, please.
We go down to the next column down here, account number. The account number is the number that's assigned to that account at that time. Not the phone number. Again, the MDN number is the actual phone number of the cell phone. This is just the account number. Then you go over, you have an account activation date. Again, this account was activated on 6/26 of 2010. The account termination date is empty because it was still active during the time the search was actually made. When you go down to actually the next column, in the first column, but the horizontally, you have phone model. This particular cell phone was a Kyocera, K-Y-O-C-E-R-A S1310 Domino. That's the name of the actual handheld device, the cell phone, that this individual either purchased or came in and said, would you activate this phone for me? Again, over here you have the actual account activation date, 6/26/2010. After the phone model, you will have the MDN number again, the actual phone number of the phone, 813-531-3906. You will also have something over here called a MIN, and that is the mobile identifying number. It looks like a phone number, but it's not. It actually identifies the home switch that's associated with this particular phone.
What is a switch?
A switch is actually what records the call details, the phone logs of all the phone calls. It's a big computer. It's here in the Tampa area. and it records all of the phone calls associated with, in this case, this specific phone. At the very end, you have something called the ESN NEID number. That's the electronic serial number of this phone model of this particular phone. That number is actually unique to that phone. It is actually given to that phone at the factory where the phone is actually made, by the company that makes the phone. These other things down here, to be honest with you, this ICCID, not applicable. I don't know what it means anyway. And then these other things, N/A, not applicable. There's nothing in those boxes.
Thank you, sir. Now, the bottom half of that exhibit R1, below the middle horizontal gray bar, does that pertain to information concerning a account, cellular Metro PCS account, separate and apart from the top account?
Yes, sir. Different account number, different phone number.
And in a similar fashion as you did with the information above, would you explain to the jury what account information is provided on the bottom portion of that exhibit?
Again, MDN number. There's also the search number for that particular account. The phone number is 863-844-1193. The search date, 6/28/2010 to 7/3/2010. The subscriber name given at the time that service was purchased is Caller Wireless.
What does that mean, sir?
You'd have to ask the person that actually purchased that particular name that was given at the time the customer went in and purchased that service in or that phone.
It's not a term of art within the cellular telephone business then?
No, sir.
Okay.
That's the name that's given by the customer when they actually purchase the phone in or the service.
All right, sir. Please continue.
The next column is the subscriber address of 907 North Parsons Avenue in Brandon, Florida, and a zip code. The subscriber status, active at the time this particular cell phone number was searched. You go down, there's an account number of 501-704-014, and it is different from the account number up here on the previous phone. Different account. Account activation date on this particular phone was 2/2/2010. At the time it was searched, there is no account termination date, so that phone was still active at that time. The phone model on this particular phone is a Samsung R350 Freeform Gray, Grey. The NDM number again is the phone number 863-844-1193. Different MIN number that actually will identify the switch associated with that phone. And then there's an ESN number, that electronic serial number, that is unique to that Samsung phone that was actually created, assigned to that phone, and that phone was made by Samsung at the factory. And then you have these other numbers down here that are not applicable. I really don't know what they mean anyway, but it says NA under them.
All right, sir. I'm going to move on to another exhibit, but I'm going to hand you the actual physical exhibit of R1 should you need to refer to it, the numbers on it in the following testimony. Let me publish for you on this screen the first page of exhibit R2. For the purpose of the written record, is that a 3-page document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'll publish the front page on the flat screen. Can you describe for the jury, please, what this document is, R2?
This document is something that's referred to as call detail record of phone logs. These particular records are actually created at or the time the phone calls are actually made by the caller or received by a specific caller. In this case, the target number is 813-531-3906.
Sir, was that the toll records for the account which is reflected on the top portion of State's Exhibit R1, which you now have in your hand?
That's correct.
Okay. And these are the toll records?
These are the call detail records.
Call detail.
Commonly referred to as phone toll records.
Okay. And describe and explain for the jury, please, what information is contained on these call detail records, specifically on page 1 of Exhibit R2.
The first column, vertical column, is the date. This is the date a call was made. The next column is the time the call was made. This time is in military time or a 24-hour clock. In this instance, it's 00:10:19, so it would be 10 minutes after midnight when this first call was made. The next column is the duration, how long the phone call lasted. That's in minutes and seconds. The next column is direction. The call is either going to be outgoing from the search number to another phone or incoming to the search number from another call. The next column is dial number, and the next column next to it is destination number. Usually, that is going to be the phone number that the target number either called or that another phone called the target number. In some instances, the dialed number will have 3 numbers in front of the phone number. When that happens, that will indicate that there will be a special feature involved. In this instance, 511 is in the dialed number column. That number is actually, those 3 numbers are dialed by the switch. The actual number that is dialed by the caller is the number under the destination number. In the special features column, which is 1 column over, it'll actually tell you what the special feature is. A special feature is something like call forwarding, call waiting, 3-way call, depends on how you have your phone set up. The column after the destination number is status column. The phone call will either be answered or not answered. The next column is the special feature, and again, when that 511 shows up in front of that phone number in the dialed number, it will tell you that the phone call was actually forwarded. The next column is caller ID. Remember I told you about outgoing calls from the search number to another phone? If there's an incoming call to the search number from another phone, there will be a number up here in the call ID identifying the phone that called the search number. That first column, this is an incoming call, so you're going to have a number in the call ID. Can you move that over a little bit to the right? Over here you have 2 columns, beginning cell, ending cell. Remember I told you about the duration? When a phone call is made, it will identify the cell tower that handled the phone call during the duration of the call, at the beginning of the call, and at the end of the call. To break it down even further, in the beginning cell, you will have the switch. In this instance, for this particular phone, ending in 3906, the switch associated with that phone is Tampa 1. It is in the Tampa, greater Tampa area. This switch records which tower handled the call and which sector of the tower or side of the tower actually handled the call. The sector is the side of the tower that the antenna's on that actually picked up the signal from the phone. When you use your phone to explain that, you make a call or you receive a call, you hit the send button. You hit the send button, a radio wave will go out and it'll go to the nearest tower where that cell phone is. That switch will record the tower, in this instance, the tower 18, sector 2, the side of the tower and antennas on that handle that call, and then it'll go to the ending cell. In this instance, the call started at tower 18, sector 2, and it ended at tower 18, sector 2.
Now is there, and we'll get to it eventually, but is there a master log, for lack of a better phrase, listing of all cell towers in the Tampa Bay area from which you can look and say, well, tower 18 was located at a specific physical location or address?
That's correct. Whenever a search warrant comes in for this information, these phone logs or these call details, and you request tower information, where it started and where it ended, the company will automatically send you a list of their towers, and it'll be as close to the times of the date of the call, because about every 6 months or so, the company will go in and do some maintenance on the tower, and they may change location. Very seldom, but they do. But they will always send you that list so that you will have the tower information that is close to the time of the actual search date for a specific call.
Okay, sir, and I'm going to move the document back over a little bit to the right. You've indicated that that second column from the left is time in terms of military time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Would that be time the phone call was made at the location that the phone call was generated? In other words, Eastern Standard Time for Tampa?
That's correct. The switch that actually records the call details, I want to be clear on this, it only records these details, does not record your conversation. Metro PCS doesn't listen to what you say on your phone. The switch records this information that you see up here now.
Okay. Let me publish for you, sir, what's in evidence now as Exhibit R3. Can you explain to the jury what this document
source? The other thing is the source, the target number. Whenever the target number sends a message or receives a message, it will always be in bold print. The next column is the destination. The target number, 3906, ending in 3906, sending text message to another phone, the destination, 1193. The last column is actually the message itself that was sent by the target number to the 1193 telephone number.
Okay, sir. With reference to Exhibit 1 in your hand and referring to that very top line of Exhibit R3, which sets forth the information pertaining to a cell text message generated on June 28th of 2010 at 1:45 a.m. What number was that text sent from and sent to in terms of subscribers?
The source number, the phone that actually sent the phone message, was 813-531-3906.
And is that, I'm sorry, sir, is that the account that the subscriber has listed in the subscriber record as being Billy Ray?
That's correct. That's the first one on the subscriber document.
And the destination number for that top text message is what, sir?
863-844-1193.
And is that the number for the account listed on the lower half of State's Exhibit number R1?
That's correct.
And that the subscriber is listed as what, sir?
Caller Wireless.
Okay. So, by way of example, this very first this very first text is sent between the two subscribers whose information is on R1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Let me publish for you, sir, page 6 of this document, R3, and direct your attention to the bottom of that page, the third to the bottom entry, starting at what is listed at 01/30/13. Did you locate that call or that text, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, Counselor, is that page 6 of 7?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I
Page-
just want to make sure I was reading that correctly.
Page 6 of 7, the third text from the bottom of that document.
Thank you.
As far as the date and time of that text message, what would be the actual date and the actual time that that text message was sent?
Precisely, the date's going to be the same, 6/29/2011.
Okay.
But the time it was sent was at 2:30:13 a.m. as opposed to 1:30:13.
And can you tell us, again, with reference to the two accounts that are the subscriber information is in Exhibit R1 in your hands, who sent it and who received that text?
Excuse me, Counsel, you said 2011?
If I did, I meant to say 2010?
10.
I'm sorry, that's my error. Who sent and who received that text at June 29, 2010 at approximately 2:30 a.m. in the morning?
Phone number 813-531-3906.
Billy Ray's?
Billy Ray's phone.
Okay.
Send a text message to 863-844-1193. Caller Wireless's phone.
Okay. And what is the substance of the text of the message as set forth in the record of that text?
Your ride don't need the number 2 be parked by the spot needed.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Publishing now for you, sir, a 4-page document that comprises Exhibit R4. Can you describe for the jury what this document is?
These are call detail records for the target number 863-844-1193.
Again, the call detail records then for the second account or the bottom account shown and listed on State's Exhibit number R1?
Yes, with the subscriber name of Caller Wireless.
Okay, sir. And again, does it, in general terms, does it set forth in the same manner as did R2, the call detail information, date, time, dial number, duration, etc., as it did for that exhibit?
That's correct.
Okay. So by looking at this exhibit, you would get the same type of history of telephone calls made and received by this subscriber account?
Yes, sir.
Okay. been admitted as State's Exhibit R5. What is this document, sir?
These are text messages with content for the search number, the target number of 863-844-1193, and that's the phone that is associated with the subscriber name of Caller Wireless.
It's shown on the bottom of R1, right?
Yes.
Okay. Again, referring you to
Counsel, how many pages is that document? Is that a
is this a 5-page document, sir?
Well, you have it.
Oh, yeah. How would you know, right?
I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, 5 pages.
Thank you. Okay. Drawing your attention in publishing, page 4 of 5 of this 5-page record, and drawing your attention to the third text message from the bottom. Can you describe for the jury, please, what that third text message from the bottom on page 4 consists of, the date, time, and from and to, and what it can, the message for us?
The date is 6/29 of 2010. The timestamp is 1:30:13 a.m. But to get Eastern Standard Time, the actual time the message was sent, you would have to add an hour to make that 2:30:13 a.m. In this instance, the number that received the text, the number that sent the text is 813-531-3906. And the destination number is 863-844-1193. And then you actually have the text message itself, and it reads, "Your ride don't need to be parked by the spot neither."
Okay, so this portion of State's R5 also documents and contains that same text that I referred to in the text messages R3 of the Billy Ray account. Is that right?
That's correct.
So reading these two records together, you have two entries of the same text from sender to receiver.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay. And would you expect that to occur for all messages sent during this reference time period between these two phones?
Yes, sir. If you have both sets of text messages, they should correspond.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Showing you on the screen what's been introduced as Exhibit R6. This is a 36-page document, sir? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And tell us what this document has by way of information pertaining to Metro PCS records.
At the very top of the document, you have Metro PCS cell sites for Florida market in the date of 6/4/2005. This document was sent Probably all of the Metro PCS cell markets in Florida were actually sent to the requesting agency. I believe it was the Tampa Police Department, requesting the cell site information. Evidently, the investigator took just the Tampa market from the Florida cell site, so you have 36 pages. There's thousands of towers in Florida. Up here, you're going to have switch. Remember I talked about the switch when we were talking about the subscriber record? The switch is the gatekeeper of all the phone calls. The switch actually records the phone details. It's called detail record, and it's stored on that computer. That's in the Tampa area. Each one of these cell sites are numbered. And I'm not sure exactly how many there are in Tampa, but there's quite a few. In this instance, cell tower 1 has 3 sectors. That next column will tell you how many sectors. Cell tower 1 has 3 sectors. The next column is something called the azimuth.
So I'm sorry, repeat that?
Azimuth. I'll spell it for you. A-Z-I-M-U-T-H. The azimuth is the midpoint of each sector. Every tower has 360-degree coverage. In the instance of a 3-sided tower, each sector will be 120 degrees to make 360 degrees. The azimuth is 0 degrees in sector 1. So you would go to 0, which is due north, and you go 60 degrees to the left, 60 degrees to the right, and that will give you the side of the tower that the antenna was on. The next column is the address. This is the physical address of the tower associated with cell tower number 1. The next column is the city that that particular tower is in. The next column is the county it's in. The next column is the state it's in. And then the next column is the zip code it's in. Over here on the left, I guess when y'all made the copies of this, you left out one other column, probably toward the end. Basically, you have latitude and longitude. When an investigator creates a map during their investigation, they can either use the physical address or they can use the latitude and longitude to plot where that particular tower was on a particular
answer that question.
That's the best answer I can give you, sir.
Okay, fair enough. The strength of the signal?
That's an engineering question, and I'm not an engineer.
All right. As a follow-up to that question, sir, isn't it true that a cell phone generally connects to a tower in the network with the strongest signal?
From my training and my experience, from the training that I've had from Metro PCS, it will go to the nearest tower.
Okay, and not the tower with the strongest signal necessarily?
That's an engineering question. I don't answer engineering questions. I'm not an engineer.
Okay. Would a number of factors affect the signal's strength from the tower?
It could.
Technical characteristics of the tower?
That's an engineering question.
Okay. So all those questions would be areas in which you don't have the appropriate expertise. Is that correct?
During the normal course of business, during normal circumstances, excluding a hurricane, a tornado, or in California, an earthquake, or in some instance, a Super Bowl, the call will go to the nearest tower where that handheld device is.
All right. Would the tech of the phone affect that as well?
That's an engineering question.
Witness Detective Masucci is back on the witness stand, still under oath. Please proceed, counsel. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A few more questions for you, Detective. Detective Masucci, there were cell phone records ordered from the phone records, from the phone numbers that we discussed yesterday. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Printer, are they with the clerk?
I left them with
Dontae.
Thank you. Specifically, phone number 813-531-3906 were cell phone records ordered for that number.
Yes.
And phone number area code 863-844-1193 were phone records ordered under that number.
Yes, sir.
And were those ordered from Metro PCS?
Yes.
Did that include toll records, text records, and cell phone index coding?
Yes, those were all of the items we were requesting.
And were those requested for the dates, the date of the homicide of the officers and the dates before and after?
Yes.
In reviewing those records, were there phone calls made from the defendant's cell phone in the minutes before the murder and the minutes after the murder?
Yes.
And according to looking at the dash cam video, you've reviewed that?
Yes, I did the original review and transcription of the dash cam video.
What is the approximate time of the homicides of Officers Curtis and Kodak?
0218, 2:18 in the morning is the approximate time that we've identified for this homicide.
In reviewing the records, have you had an opportunity to chart the physical locations of the towers that were being utilized between 2:03 a.m. on June 29, 2010 and 2:27 a.m. on June 29, 2010.
Yes, based on these cell tower locations, I identified these cell towers on a map and then provided a copy of that map to your office.
Okay. Judge Yar, may we approach?
Yes, sir.
Physical addresses of the tower locations indicated in the records that were being utilized in those phone calls at those certain times. Did you ascertain those from the index that was provided by Metro PCS for those towers?
Yes, based on the index, I identified the cell tower number to the physical address, and then I actually went to each physical address and assured that there were towers at those locations.
Did you measure the distance from the crime scene at the corner of 50th Street and 23rd Avenue to each of those cell towers?
Yes, I did.
Aaron, may I approach the witness?
Yes, sir.
Detective, I'm showing you what's been marked. I'm sorry. I may have one moment, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Detective, I'm going to show you what's been marked as S, and for the record, that's S as in Sierra. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. First of all, do you recognize the physical locations depicted in that?
Yes, roadways, street names, and then the blow-up boxes with times and tower numbers. I recognize all of that.
Is this a type of aerial photograph?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, is it a satellite photograph?
It is a satellite photograph.
Does it depict the area of the crime scene at 50th Street and 23rd Avenue?
Yes, it does.
Does it depict areas around that crime scene within the city limits of Tampa and Hillsborough County?
Yes, so they do.
Okay. And are they accurately depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
As they appeared on June 29, 2010?
Yes.
And does this map now also have charted on it the physical locations of the cell towers indicated in the cell phone records through Metro PCS?
It has the tower number, the physical location, and its location within the map. That is all on this.
And what design is utilized on this States S exhibit to demonstrate the location of the cell towers?
The cell towers have a design of a triangle with a red outline, and the incident of this homicide location.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes, sir.
On state test are the locations of the towers that are depicted in the cell phone records that we just discussed. Are they depicted by a geometric shape?
Yes, a triangle.
Okay. And what color is the triangle?
It is a orange with a red outline for the border of the triangle.
And the incident scene, is it also pinpointed or detailed on this in some form or fashion?
It is detailed with the geometric shape of a circle. Inside of the circle is red with a yellow X.
And starting with the incident scene, is there a label and I guess a white line coming away from the incident scene marker?
Yes, sir.
And does the label read incident scene 23rd Avenue and 50th Street?
Yes.
And for each of the cell tower locations, are there also labels that are in the form of rectangles that are photograph?
The circle is the actual location, and then of course, as we talked about prior, this is the line indicating this rectangle, and there's your incident right there.
And the roadway that the incident occurred on, 50th Street, is it depicted in the photograph?
Yes, it's a long stretch of highway, and at this point, where it makes the turn, it turns from North 56th Street into 50th. Based on the satellite, you can see the North 50th Street down there, but it is actually connected to 56th, which runs all the way down, and then it's just south of your main thoroughfare, east Dr. Martin Luther King, or 574.
So there's a curve in the road, it appears, between Hillsborough Avenue and East Martin Luther King Boulevard, and once it curves and heads back south, it becomes 50th Street.
That is correct.
And that's north of the incident scene where that curve occurs?
That is correct.
The road turn. Can you show us where the tower locations are?
Sure. We, in the analysis, we concentrated on 4 specific towers. To move the furthest away, Tower 32. And each of these times indicate when a phone call hit off of the tower.
Excuse me, counsel. Listen to the question, please. Counsel, you're asking the location of the tower.
Yes, Your Honor.
Limit the answer to the question, please. What's the question?
Okay. Can you just show us the location of all the 4 towers involved in this diagram?
Tower 032 is at 4850 East Bush Boulevard. Is that triangle right there?
Right.
Tower 024, as we move south, is at the physical location 3725 Smith Tree Street. And if you follow the white line, it is right off of Interstate 4 there. To reach across, Tower 121 is at the physical location 3615 East Lake Avenue, and it's just south of the roadway depicted here as East Lake, that triangle. And lastly, to move south of the murder location, there is tower number 230. The physical address is 1725 North 50th Street, and if you follow the line, it's at this triangle right here, which is just off of the roadway where this homicide occurred.
Would it be fair to say that in your analysis on this map, you're concentrating on phone calls logged under, and I'm going to go to Metro PCS record marked R2, the state's R2, the 813-531-3906 account?
Yes.
And I'm going to take your attention to 02:03 in the morning, so 2:03 a.m. and 41 seconds. Is that the first call that you looked at as far as what was reflected on the records?
Yes, sir, and it's depicted up here on that tower, 0203.
Okay. Is there another phone call made on that, or made that the records indicate the beginning cell tower is
Objection, Your Honor.
032?
Approach the bench, please.
Now,
Steve. Go ahead.
are you okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's go back to, and I'm going to call your attention to, this is for target number 813-531-3906. The cell phone associated to the defendant, it's already been testimony that, I believe you testified that yesterday, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
This call, according to States R3, and you have a copy of States R3 in your hands?
Yes, sir.
What was the duration of the call?
The first call at 0203, and it's 41 seconds, is a duration of 28 seconds.
Is that an outgoing call?
Yes.
Okay, and is it being made to a number of 813-453-7397?
It is.
Did you subpoena records for that phone number, the 453-7397 number?
Our squad did attempt to identify a subscriber.
Were you able to identify the subscriber for that number?
No, it's still an unknown subscriber to us today.
Okay. So this target number 531-3906 at 2:03 a.m. and 41 seconds is making an outgoing call to that number. In States R3, under the column beginning cell tower, what is the tower number?
It is 03032.
And what is the ending cell tower?
It is also 032.
Okay, so we're staying at the same tower right here as far as that tower number.
That is correct.
All right. The next call, 0204, so 2:04 in the morning and 21 seconds.
That is correct.
Duration of 29 seconds, is that right?
That is correct. It's an outgoing call that has a duration of 29 seconds.
Okay. And what cell phone is being called?
That outgoing call is being placed to area code 863-844-1193.
That's the number that you associated to Ms. Brantley.
That is correct.
Okay. And what's the duration of that call?
That call again is 29 seconds.
And what cell tower what cell tower does R3, the records, Metro PCS records, indicate is the beginning cell tower?
For this one, it begins on the same cell, 032, and ends on 032.
Can you point again to that area in the diagram?
That would be this location right here.
All right. Did you measure the distance between that cell tower and the crime scene?
Yes, I used Google Maps for an overhead view, and then I physically drove the location. Depending on route, it's as short as 5.1 miles and as long as the exact 7 miles even.
Okay. If you went down, I'm sorry. Can you give us directionality on this, diagram?
This is direction from the bottom of the map up, identifying this tower in the road Bush Boulevard. That is north of the homicide location.
So this would be the south here?
That is correct.
And if you're, this is as an example, if you're on East Bush Boulevard, it's labeled up here, you're heading in this direction, what direction are you going?
You're heading back to the west.
And if you're heading in this direction, what direction?
Back to the east.
Okay. If you were to go from this cell tower east on Bush and then south on 56, and go through the curve here above Martin Luther King where it turns into 50th to the crime scene, what was the mileage?
It is 5.3 miles.
Now, you've reviewed Stakes B dash cam video from Officer Curtis's car?
Yes.
All right. And in viewing that, were you able to determine, based on your knowledge of the streets of Tampa, and are you familiar with this area?
Yes.
All right. And in your years as a City of Tampa police officer, were you at one time a patrol officer?
I started off my career as a patrol officer.
In viewing that dash cam video, where is Officer Curtis's car when that dash cam video activates and begins to save the recording?
He is just north of Hillsborough Avenue at a point between Sly and Hillsborough.
All right. In what direction is he heading?
He is heading in a southbound direction through Hillsborough and then down through this curve we discussed.
And is the Toyota Camry heading in the same direction?
Yes, at the point that I started viewing the dash cam, the Toyota Camry is already in his visual, and then the camera's picking it up. So he is at a point behind or further north than the Camry.
So as he's following the Camry is south of him?
It is south and it's heading south.
Heading south in the southbound lanes?
Yes.
Let's go to the next phone call. Now this is going to be at June 29, 2010 at 02:13 and 14 seconds. So at 2:13 a.m. and 14 seconds, is there a phone call placed from the phone associated to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is the duration of that phone call?
Now that phone call, the phone is activated for 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
And is it an outgoing call?
It is an outgoing call.
And what number is being dialed?
The number being dialed by the defendant's phone is 813-453-7397.
Is that the phone number you were unable to determine who the subscriber was?
That is correct.
Is the phone? Is that call answered?
Yes, it is indicating that it was answered.
All right. And what the Getty cell towers indicated in the record states R3?
We moved down.
I'm sorry, states R2.
I'm sorry. It's we moved down to cell tower identified as 230 for the activation of the call, and it is still located on cell 230 at the end of the duration of the finality of the call.
Good. Do you see that cell tower location on this diagram?
I do.
Can you point to it?
It is this triangle, which is almost directly south of the homicide location right here.
Okay. And did you measure the distance between the crime scene and cell tower 230, located at 1725 North 50th Street?
Yes, that is a distance of 0.9 miles driven. And again, just there inside the caution, if you took the side streets, it could be as far as 1.2 miles.
But the most direct route is a little less than a mile?
Yes, just shy of a 0.9.
Okay. Now, this call initiates at 02:13:14. When does Officer Curtis stop the Toyota Camry?
Based on my review of the video and radio, the time is 0213 hours. 0210 to 0213 hours is the period that this the dash cam's on and the traffic stop is made right at 0213.
Okay. And you said that call has a duration of 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yes, sir.
All right. Where the phone has connected to another phone and is on, or is there a connection between those two phones?
Yes.
According to R2, states R2.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the next call. 0216 and 21 seconds. So 2:16 in the morning and 21 seconds. Is that also reflected in the box for tower number 230?
Yes, right here.
Okay. Now, at that time, 2:16, in reviewing the dash cam video from Officer Curtis's car, at 2:16, where is Officer Curtis at that point?
Officer Curtis has returned to his patrol vehicle.
And that 2:16:21, 2:16 a.m. and 21 seconds call, what is the duration of that call?
It is 31 seconds and it is an outgoing call.
And what number is being called or dialed?
The number that is being dialed is 813-453-7397.
Again, the number that you don't know who the subscriber is.
That is correct.
Okay. And does it indicate in the status section of states R2 that that phone call was answered?
Yes.
And again, what is the cell tower being utilized? Or I'm sorry, what is the beginning cell tower according to R2?
230.
And what's the ending cell tower?
Is also 230.
Right, so that same cell tower south of the crime scene.
That is correct.
Is there another call placed at 2:17:04 a.m.?
Yes, this is an incoming call.
I'm sorry, that's incoming.
Yes, sir.
And where is that call being, who's making that call?
That call is originated from a telephone number 813-453-7397.
All right, so that's again the phone number that we do not know who the subscriber is.
That is correct.
All right. And what cell tower is being utilized in that phone call?
It is cell tower 230 for the origination and 230 for the
Ending?
ending.
Okay. The next phone the phone number where we don't have a subscriber name.
That is correct.
And is that phone call answered?
Yes.
according to status box.
What is the beginning cell tower according to States R2?
This is still on tower 024 for the beginning of the call, and it ends at tower 024.
All right. Going to the next call, is there a 2:22 a.m. and 2-second call?
Yes,
And is that outgoing or incoming?
that is an outgoing call for a duration of 27 seconds.
And what number is being called by Mr. Morris's phone?
It is area code 863-844-1193.
Again, is that Courtney Brantley's phone?
Yes, sir.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
All right, I believe we were talking about a 2:22 a.m. and 2-second phone call outgoing to the 863 number.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 863-844-1193. Is that right?
That is the correct number.
Right. And that, how long was the duration of that call according to the Metro PCS records?
27 seconds.
And was it answered?
Yes.
And what cell tower was being utilized?
At this point, we now are on cell tower 121. It originates on that cell tower and it ends on that cell tower.
Okay. And can you show us that location on the diagram?
Yes, to reach across here, this triangle right here is the approximate location of the cell tower. And then, of course, you can see the cell tower at the times and the physical locations in the rectangle.
Okay. Is the physical location 3615 East Lake Avenue?
Yes, sir.
Did you measure the distance between that cell tower at 3615 East Lake Avenue to the crime scene at 23rd Avenue and 50th Street?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what was the distance?
It's 1.5 to 1.8 miles, depending on the driving route.
Going forward, 40 seconds to 2:22 a.m. and 42 seconds. Is there a phone call originated from the 813-531-3906 number?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, counsel, I did not hear the time. Can you please repeat it?
Sure. It's at 2:22 a.m. and 42 seconds.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that an incoming or outgoing call?
As an outgoing call,
And to what number is that call being made?
that call is being made to area code 813-453-7397.
Okay. Is it answered?
It is.
And what cell tower is the beginning cell according to the Metro PCS record?
The beginning cell is cell tower 121.
And what is the ending tower?
It is still
cell tower 121.
And that call, is that also reflected on the diagram?
Yes, sir, right here.
And going to the the 02:24 a.m. and 53 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Is there a call made at that time?
Yes, there is.
And you said what time was the time of the shootings?
0218.
Okay, and it's on the document on the diagram, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now we're approximately 6 minutes after the shooting?
Yes, sir.
Well, actually almost 7 minutes. What was the duration of that call at 2:24 a.m. and 53 seconds?
It is an outgoing call with a duration of 11 seconds.
And to what number was the call being made?
Area code 813-453-7397.
Was the call answered?
Yes.
And what cell tower is the beginning cell?
024.
And what's the ending cell?
024.
Okay. So we're back over here at this tower over here?
Yes, sir. There's the time indication. Be specific, that triangle is the location of the tower.
Okay.
Let me interrupt. Can Council put something, please?
They ordered lunch for you today, and I think the lunches today are hot lunches rather than sandwiches, so rather than continue and get your lunch later, we'll have recess now. It's a little after 12. We'll take about an hour, and if you need more than that, that's fine.
All right, please, before you adjourn.